Oreos grant me strength to get through this video. Hi friends. So how is it already March? I feel like it was just January. Like I blinked and now it's March. I don't feel good about that. I don't. But I hope you're doing well. As of recording this, I just posted my last video. If you haven't seen it yet, you can find it up here. So we just finished the So Jaded Palette Potential series. The nice thing about doing the Palette Potential series is that it gives me a lot of content that will guarantee me several videos in a row. And then once that's done, I suddenly become at a loss for content. So I start to think about all the things that YouTubers generally do, all of the video trends that are floating around, most of which don't interest me. However, I sort of forgot that January contains my YouTube anniversary. Even though my audience is small, it's still kind of a big deal for me personally. So now's as good a time as any to attempt something that really makes me cringe. In honor of my 2-year YouTube anniversary, I'm going to attempt to follow my very first YouTube tutorial. So if you are down for some really awkward content, then keep on watching and let's get started. I'm already dreading this decision I've just made. 2 years isn't really that long ago when you think about it, but it feels like a lifetime ago since I started uploading on here. It's funny, the first video I actually posted on this platform wasn't for YouTube, it was for a group on Facebook that I'm a part of. It's about makeup, obviously. I decided to film something for them just to test the waters, dip my toe in, just to see if I could really hack it. The funny thing is I didn't realize how hard it was going to be myself in front of a camera. This video really is just me trying to navigate the hilarious awkwardness of being in front of a camera and talking to a camera. But I still really love this look, so I'm actually kind of looking forward to recreating it. Without further ado, let's watch the very first video I ever made, which is titled Foundation Routine and Glitter Liner Tutorial. Because me 2 years ago had the audacity to be telling people how to put their makeup on. Pull the band-aid off. 3, 2, 1, play. Okay, sorry to stop it so soon. I didn't realize that the origin of me drinking on camera started from day one. I just remembered that just now. Hilarious. Okay, let's keep going because otherwise we're gonna be here all night. All right. I know a couple of people in the group wanted me to film a video. So I thought, why not tonight? I'm gonna... Does anyone else have that defense mechanism where they just touch their faces a lot when they're really uncomfortable? Anyway. Do full face makeup tonight in case some of you wanted to watch me do that. Here it is. I'm focusing on my base foundation because I hear a lot of questions in the group about primers, foundations, concealers, powders. So I thought I'd focus on that too. Also, I wanted to challenge myself. Sidebar, low-key living for that hair color, just saying. I don't even remember what music I put under this. It was some copyright-free music on iMovie. Not iMovie on my laptop, by the way. I recorded this and edited this from my phone. Let's keep going. Let's get started. I'm gonna do something real quick before we actually get into the video. It's my brows, so just give me 1 second. Oh god, I forgot. Definitely tried to do a clever little edit there. Since we're following this tutorial, we have to do the same thing. Here we go. Eyebrows in 3, 2, 1. Probably didn't get any better at editing that. If you didn't already know, I did post an updated brow routine not too long ago, actually. You can find it up here. Let's keep going. Figured doing my brows on camera would be a little boring since it takes me forever. That hasn't changed. So if anyone wants an in-depth video on how I do my brows, please leave a comment and I'll do that. I'm pretty sure that tutorial is still up as well if you want to go source that one out. All right, just so you know, I used the Benefit Precisely My Brow in shade number 3 and cleaned up using Tarte Shape Tape. And that's a throwback. Next step, foundation. I have been using 2 mixed together lately. I used to think I was a matte foundation person. Boy, howdy, was I wrong. Me trying to be funny. I still haven't used a matte foundation in about 3 years. I wanted to show you my foundation routine because I had a comment on a photo I posted saying, wow, your skin is so perfect. I almost laughed out loud. It's really far from perfect.
Still far from perfect. I was really hoping to rewatch this video and look at it and say, oh wow, my skin's come a really long way. Let's keep watching.
I rarely get the right formula for my skin with the coverage I want out of just one foundation. So I really like to blend.
I'm pretty sure the only reason why I blended foundation at all is because I had 2 foundations to blend. I don't think there's any rhyme or reason to it. I'm pretty sure I just did it because they were there.
The L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow and the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Coverage.
Oh my god. That's right. I did used to blend these 2 together. I don't have either of those foundations anymore, but I do possess, and what are 2 of my current faves is the Anastasia Luminous Foundation and the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation. Flower Beauty has a ton more coverage than the ABH one, but the ABH one is very, very buildable. And you know, I've been opting for a little less coverage these days, but for sake of the video, we will blend both of these foundations together.
Just a dollop of each, a tiny bit of that Pro Coverage.
Oh, I have that still. Funny story, this palette is a soap dish. I stole it from a hotel room, but it works really well as a palette. So, okay, let's just do a little pump of ABH and let's do pump in a bit of Flower Beauty. I don't know if I'm gonna prime in this video. Let's see.
And then I just mix them around with my finger on this palette, which is actually a soap holder.
Oh, all right. Just transparent from the beginning. It's good. Good to be honest.
I'm going to prime.
Okay, here we go. Thank God. What am I priming with?
First with the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer.
Yeah,
water.
I loved that shit.
Even though I have an oily T-zone, I do find that using a hydrating primer water makes my foundation adhere to my skin way better.
True. Okay, let's see. Current favorite, Milk Hydro Grip, does the same thing. It just has a little bit more of a grip to it. And we didn't use any smoothing or pore filling primers back in the day. I was scarred a little bit by the Benefit Professional. I remember that was one of the first primers I ever bought purely because of how popular it is. But it made the mistake of using way too much of it and not really getting it pressed right into the pores. But now I know how to use them properly. What I've been really loving is one I just picked up. It's the Good Molecules Silicone-Free Priming Moisturizer. And I know it's not really pore filling or anything in any way, but I have noticed since using this that the foundation on my nose sits really well. So I'm just gonna throw a little bit of that on because it does seem to smooth things out just a teeny tiny bit.
Nope, just ate it a little. Don't do that. So I'm just gonna dot it all over the skin with the Pro Glow. You can really kind of go ham.
Let's just consider this video a revision. What I actually do now consistently is the Scott Barnes technique of contouring underneath your foundation. This helps me use less product in the long run. It may seem like a lot of steps up front, but it really does actually help me with that cake face. I really try and carve out the apple of the cheek right underneath here now, because I feel like once the foundation is laid on top of that, it looks really nice. This is the Maybelline Superstay Multi-Use Foundation Stick, by the way, in the shade Mocha. Just subtly removing my double chin. And then this is also where I contour my nose as well. Sometimes I don't feel like using powder to contour my nose at all.
One of my Christmas presents to myself was a Clarisonic. So I've been using the foundation attachment.
Oh my god, I have not used that for a foundation in a minute. Oh my god.
Use it on low, but it blends, especially down the neck. Like a dream. Look at that. Look at all that coverage. But by no means is it absolutely necessary.
It's definitely not necessary, but it looks really good, I'm not gonna lie.
Who else's nose gives them so much grief when they're doing foundation?
So what I typically do for foundation nowadays is I just use a brush because it is the fastest, it's the easiest. Although the Clarisonic, oh man, it's got me thinking, maybe I should bring that back. And I'm gonna put on a little less than what I did before, because what I actually do now is basically put on concealer and foundation at the exact same time, just to avoid that cakiness and layering of products. All right, before I blend this in, let's see what she does for concealer.
I'm gonna go in before I go with concealer with a lighter foundation shade in
a third foundation folks has entered the chat.
The Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation. It's in the shade Porcelain. And I bought it because I wanted a full coverage.
I just went in with a second foundation before going in with concealer. Girl.
And then I go on top of that with the tiniest bit of Shape Tape.
There we go.
And then I take my beauty blender and I melt the two.
These days, I'm actually really loving this Revlon Candid Photoready concealer. And I do try to use it a little sparingly because I do find that my texture shows up a lot more when I'm caking it on. Let's blend these together. See, this is why I don't like doing my brows first anymore. Don't forget to blend out that contour. I've definitely made that mistake before. I think I just used half the product that I used to use. Okay, now what?
Oh, I love that like concealer face you make when you're doing the under eye. Oh, it's so attractive. Okay, now that I am blended out, I'm going to quickly set and bake all of my problem spots with loose setting powder.
All right.
The setting powder I'm using lately is Too Faced Ethereal Setting Powder.
Oh, I forgot about that powder. It's a good powder. I actually really like that powder. I don't know why I haven't used it in a long time. I think I just wanted to try some new things and then I just never went back to it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have had a real love-hate relationship with setting my face. I have gone back and forth between baking and not baking for a few months now. Maybe it's just because I'm getting older, but my face just really, even in areas where I normally get really oily really fast, like my nose, my T-zone, it just looks dry. As much as I stood by it for so long on my channel, sometimes I wonder if like a little bit of creasing isn't the worst thing in the world. Let's watch her bake.
The Too Faced Ethereal Setting Powder has a yellow undertone to it. Even though it's translucent, it gives you that sort of brightening effect under the eyes. I'm just gonna really go in there under the eye quickly so that it doesn't crease. You want to do that real quick. You want to make sure it's all blended out before it gets creasy. You want to pop that first layer of setting powder, and it does let some of that luminosity come through.
Several hours later.
I bake my upper lip and I bake my nose.
Watching this makes me want to bake.
Really press it in there. Then I go in one more time under my under eyes because these bags don't hide themselves.
What? I baked twice under the eyes? Okay, that's excessive. Let's just see how you finish this out.
Finish baking, I just take this fluffy brush and I just take a little bit in the lid.
Your Eco Tools
a little bit of
brush
that
you
loose
got
powder
from
on this brush. I
London
press
Drugs.
it into my face, but really light
7 years ago.
coating of it. You don't want the rest of your face to look cakey. Dust it right on the forehead. Or in my case, the 5 head.
Oh, sweetie, your forehead's fine. So I'm going to show you how I set my face now. Mostly thanks to watching and continuing to learn lots of things from Robert Welsh. He is a full-time makeup artist out there in the field. He works for his meals. So the same thing about the yellow powder still rings true to me. I still use a powder that has quite a yellowy base to it. I've been really, really loving my Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r Instant Retouch Setting Powder in the shade Butter. So instead of baking those areas, I now try to go in as sparingly as possible with powder. First of all, going in with this big fluffy eyeshadow brush, still trying to make sure that I'm creaseless. And I just dip into the powder, tap off some of the excess, and start gently pressing powder into my problem areas. I still do the same thing with the rest of my face when I'm setting it. Take a big old fluffy brush, tap it over the rest of the face. Let's move it right along.
So since we already have a eye base set down, I'm using the Kathleen Lights and Colourpop Dream Street collaboration.
Ooh, this palette's actually still fantastic. Ooh, this is exciting. I don't use this very often anymore, so let's pull this out.
For my crease shade, I'm going to use this top right shade here, which I think, if it is corresponding in the back, is called Twinkle. It's real nice. Just a tiniest bit though, because I don't want to make it an eyeshadow look. This is just to add the time.
Okay, great. Let's just add some definition. This is a really lovely crease shade. Yeah, still a great eyeshadow. Anything else?
This right here is my problem area, so I do make sure that it is really blended into that corner before I go out.
Well, that hasn't changed either.
So today I'm going to attempt for the third time to use the NYX Matte Liquid Liner.
Oh my god. This liner is the bane of my existence, and I still stand by that.
Hopefully we'll be able to produce a pretty decent wing.
Nope.
I'll line the lid first. And then I usually take that point and then I drag it back. And here they are.
Those ain't half bad, I'm not gonna lie, considering that that liner is trash. Just bought a fresh tube of my very favorite liner, which is the NYX Epic Ink Liner. It is the best liner at the drugstore. It rivals the Fenty Fly Liner. It rivals the KVD Tattoo Liner. It is that good.
How many times have you ever caught yourself not breathing while doing eyeliner?
Every single time. Let's go in with wing. But I think I'm just gonna continue on that Raw Beauty Kristi liner train. So let's give this a whirl. And then we're gonna really go for it on this curve here. I just really think that this shape of liner is flattering to my eye shape. I'm so glad that Raw Beauty Kristi did that one day, because I think it has really changed my liner life for the better. Still working out the kinks on this technique, but the overall effect, very flattering. All right, what's next?
I'm gonna go in with a little Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter Eyeliner in Midnight Cowboy.
Woo! Okay.
This guy is super sparkly. It's got a really tiny applicator. So cute. I'm just gonna go in and draw a line, a glitter line just on the top of my wing. And there is the liner all done.
All right, not much else to do except try it out. Oh, okay, what next?
I think I'm gonna pop just a little bit of extra Midnight Cowboy under my lower lash line just here. I don't think I'm gonna do any shadow on the lower lash line.
No shadow on the lower lash line, huh? Also, no inner corner highlight. Like, I feel like we gotta have at least like some inner corner highlight. This feels wrong. All right, let's go into the Going Coconuts palette because it's in front of me. And let's take Shredded and put that in the inner corner just to brighten things up ever so slightly. Let's pop that on the brow bone while we're here. Now let's go in with that glitter liner just on the inner corner. Moving on.
Okay, that's pretty much it for the eyes. I think I'm just gonna go in with like a little bit of a highlight for the brow bone in the inner corner, and I think that's it for brow bone highlight and inner corner.
Well, fine then.
For highlight, I'm gonna go in with the Colourpop Super Shock Cheek in the shade Stole the Show.
As much as I still love this, I think it is a little bit on the crusty side these days. It's getting on in years. But I do have something that is really similar in tone and also formula, which is the Physicians Formula Butter Highlighter. I just used this in my last video, but it is actually really similar to Stole the Show. So let's just layer that up then, shall we?
I'm gonna go ahead and dust off my bake.
Oh, now she's gonna dust off her bake after it's been sitting there for probably 45 minutes.
Let's just throw in some mascara. So right now I'm using L'Oreal Luminous Lash Paradise.
I bought into the Lash Paradise hype pretty hard.
I've used it a couple times now and I'm probably about halfway through the tube, but just look, it just, oh, it's so goopy. It's good mascara and it works. I just end up getting it all over my face.
Also true. All right, let's do some mascara then, shall we? Currently, my new drugstore favorite is the NYX On The Rise mascara. And if you will indulge me, no goop. Here on my channel, we are anti-goop. Some crazy hair on my eyelid. I think lashes are next.
Let's do some lashes. My ride or die favorite lash of all time is the Cocoa Lashes in Risque.
The only reason they were my ride or die lash is because they're the only false lash I owned. Let's just keep watching.
And these lashes are only $7 Canadian. You gotta make sure they dry a little bit down so they're really good and tacky before applying them. I've got them here on with my little tweezers. These are not special tweezers, these are just regular tweezers. You look down at your mirror like this. Just plop them right up. above your regular lashes.
I can't believe I'm giving a little lash tutorial in my first video. Like, who does she think she is?
Take the outer corner, pull them, and place them. You can really get them right onto that lash line without much fuss.
I guess we're doing lashes now before everything else, which is super weird. Let's go into the current fave. How about these? They are the Likely Makeup Pastel Honey Lashes, and I guess we're gonna put them on camera. Fine. We were ballsy enough to do it then. We should be able to do it now. I will, however, say that using a lash tool as opposed to just a plain pair of tweezers is the superior choice. There is nothing wrong with using tweezers. I'm not saying that tweezers won't work. They will definitely work. However, the lash tool is a little less dangerous. There's less sharp edges near your eyeball, and it's just designed, you know, specifically to assist with getting that lash as close to the lash line as humanly possible. And it's a little easier to get those corners down, which are always the bane of my existence. As much as I enjoy recommendations from influencers, it is a really nice feeling when you find something on your own that becomes your new favorite thing. Let's just get a move on here, all right? My face is feeling a bit naked.
The last brow step. Yeah, you thought we were done. We're not done. I use a clear brow gel just to set.
Okay, just so you know, this step is redundant. It was one of those things that I had in my collection that I really just wanted to make an excuse to use.
I guess the last thing we have to do is bring some dimension back to this flat, pale ass mug. When I have the time and I'm just dicking around with makeup, I really love to layer my bronzers.
Oh my god. Why all the extra steps? Okay.
First one I go in with is Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer.
Well, that hasn't changed.
And I just take a big giant fluffy brush and I just stamp it in.
Honey. Brush is so enormous. If it's that big, you can't place it. It just kind of goes everywhere. Plus, this brush is way too densely packed for you to diffuse the product. Lately, I've been favoring this big old fan brush. When used at the appropriate angles with the appropriate motions, you can be way more precise with it. I usually line it up just about here, and then I just start to graze it back and forth, and then start to swirl up and away from the face to blend it up, not down. Under the chin, the forehead as well. I use that curved edge and I just start to lightly graze the forehead. And then instead of contouring my nose, I just do a little bit of bronzer around the tip, just roughly on the sides.
This actually smells like a vacation. True. Then I go in with Benefit's Hoola bronzer. So if you were, but I also have their Benefit Hoola bronzing brush.
Still a great brush.
Make circular motions.
Oh, that's a lot. There's just so much. There's just so much bronzer.
I do like to pretend I have a jawline.
Just embrace your overbite, Maddie. Just learn to embrace it. Instead of putting an extra matte bronzer, what I'm actually going to do now is take my Ambient lighting palette and I'm going to use that instead to finish off my face. We're still going to use the Benefit bronzing brush. We're going to dip it into this nice, very sheer Luminous bronzer, and it's way more cool tone than Hoola. We're just going to kind of brush over this area to smooth it out. This bronzer doesn't really define, it just gives you that really extra dimensional skin finish. I'm going to do the same thing with these Ambient powders here. I use the yellowy banana powder shade for the center of my forehead, down the nose, and the chin. And then I take the beigeier shade, kind of just graze that everywhere, just to give that all over healthy glow.
Now that we are bronzed,
yes we are,
I'm gonna go in with a boatload of blush. It's the Tarte Blush Bazaar.
She's looking real fresh in this video. Not so much anymore.
You'll never need another blush ever again.
That's a lie.
So I think I'm gonna go in with these two shades here. Dainty and Endless.
1, 2.
Just dust it on the apples. Ooh, on camera this looks real rosy.
Sure
I think I might dust some of that back with that powder brush again.
It's because you're using brushes that are too dense. All right, let's tap it in. I have a bad habit of going a little too high up here with my blush. It kind of narrows this part of my face a little bit too much. And if you're using a brush with fewer bristles, you won't run into this patchy mess.
And just dust it on the tip of your your nose.
I cannot believe that I wasn't blushing up that good old little chinny chin of mine. I will avoid the Rudolph effect, but I do want to just add a teeny bit right on the bridge, just for that little button effect. Also, these were the days before blush topper, and that makes me sad. Let's remedy that with a little bit of blush topper.
So I'm gonna go in with what you all were probably waiting for, and that's a highlight. I'm gonna go in first with the highlight in the Blush Bazaar called Whimsical. It's that gold shade.
Ugh, I'm not gonna do that. It's just not good. Just kind of dull.
And I really like bringing it down to the top of the cheek and blending it really well with your blush. And I always go above my brow. And
Still
of course
do
we
that.
cannot forget Cupid's bow.
Still do that.
So to finish off my highlighter tonight, I'm gonna go back in with that Colourpop Super Shock Shadow and Still the Show.
Right, okay. So we're gonna skip the disappointing step and go straight for the magical, creamy, blinding goodness. Don't forget to highlight your chin, guys.
I'm going to pop a nude liner in the waterline to open up my eyes just a little bit more. This is a Colourpop liner.
Good idea. Instead of that, let's just use the NYX Jumbo Pencil in the color Milk. I do think I want to go back into the Dream Street palette and just do a little bit of eyeshadow on the lower lash line.
I'm going to go in first with the Laura Lee and Colourpop collab with No Kill LA. This shade is called BAM!
I loved this shade so much, and I am so sad that that formula does not last very long. The Ultra Satin Lip from Colourpop is beautiful. It is chef's kiss, but it goes bad very quickly. I decided to try and dupe it at the drugstore. However, it's a really hard color to dupe. I went with the closest thing I could find in a formula that I actually been curious about. I picked up a Maybelline Superstay ink crayon. This one's in the color Make It Happen. It's just so nice. I miss it. What I didn't used to do is use lip liner. So we're just gonna line a little bit. Let's give this a whirl. I'm curious to this formula. Actually, this color is a lot closer than I thought it was.
For my freckles, I go in with Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow in medium brown.
Oh my gosh.
I do take a tiny bit on my little angle brush, just like the point of it. Start dotting. I think that was too many. We got to roll with it. I'm trying real hard not to look like Anna Green Gables right now.
I don't want to tell her.
I don't care if I fucked up this look. I think I look cute.
That's a good attitude. Let's do some freckles. First, using just a regular brown eyeshadow, and then going in after that with Freck. Far and away, hands down, Freck is the best freckle product on the market. It is specifically designed to create freckles. I like this technique because it creates variants of color and depth and texture. I'll have to get up close for this one. To avoid that Anne of Green Gables vibe, you don't put all of the freckles everywhere. You concentrate them in areas like the bridge of your nose, and then you let the other freckles disperse from those areas and fade out. And it gives you more of a natural look.
All we have left to do is a little setting spray, some bottom lashes, and we're good to go. And of course, to set everything in place, all-nighter.
If you're new here and you've seen me use this bottle a couple times, you may not know that this is not all-nighter. This is in fact the Mario Badescu facial spray with aloe, herbs, and rose water inside of an all-nighter bottle because the Mario Badescu mister sucks. And of course, do not forget. Let me just get back to center where I belong. that wasn't as cringy as I was expecting it to be. I still think this is a really solid look. You know, a couple of my techniques needed an upgrade. I was working off of what was popular on YouTube at the time, which was a lot of powder, a lot of baking. That's still prevalent. I'm just glad that I have seen more. I'm glad that I explored further beyond the YouTubers that are right at the top of the food chain. Upon further exploration, I found some incredible artists that are indeed deserving of ad revenue, of your views, your clicks, your likes, your subscriptions. There's just so many talented artists out there that have so many cool tips and tricks to share with you. I, for one, recently have learned a lot from Scott Barnes. I've learned a lot from Robert Welsh. I've learned a lot from Jamie French. The thing I think you should take away from this is not to stay stuck in one method. This is also a really good example of how you can get better. I guess in short, what I would say is don't be afraid to change it up. I'm gonna give my younger self a pat on the back here. I think she was doing a good job, and it took a lot of courage to start this journey. But I want to know what you think. I want to know if you see any of my current self in that person. Would you watch that video? To the people who actually sat through my old videos, I appreciate you. Okay, before my camera battery dies a third time, I guess I should wrap this up. Here are the many ways you can help out my channel. Give this video a big thumbs up, comment down below what you thought of the video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on other social media, you can find those links right there, and check out the Patreon link down below. That was the fastest I think I've ever done that. Thanks so much for sitting through this. Y'all are so special to me. And here's hoping that in the next 2 years we can look back on this video and cringe together. Okay folks, please be kind and be generous, and I will see you on the next one. Bye guys.